All right, it's 5:05 Leland Live, talking 905. Alabama Dental Associates bringing you the show tonight. Y'all go get your teeth checked as we get into the new year. We got to do all the checkups. I've got a lot of health options for you. We got so many things that we're all trying to focus on. I've got a few resolutions I'm going to try to stick to as we make a new year. Might as well try. And putting a dental checkup on your list if you've been busy and put it off, man, that's one of the things you need to do. You don't want to get behind on that. Alabama Dental makes it easy as they can because they've got those expanded hours, which go until 7 o'clock at night, and then they're there on Saturdays. I'd never heard of a dental practice doing anything like this when they first came on. Then Dr. Brian became a good buddy of mine, and he's my dentist, and I realized the convenience of that. Then you add to the fact the reason they're able to stretch their hours out is they're four dentists. It's not a single dentist practice. A single dentist practice couldn't cover those kind of hours. And then with those four guys, they've all got different specialties. So if you got a unique condition or something, they've got a specialist to handle it. And they've invested in incredible technology to both diagnose and treat the myriad of things that people bring in. It's a comprehensive practice. Go get your teeth did and do it at Alabama Dental. AJ goes there, I go there, my whole crew goes there. AlabamaDental.com, AlabamaDental.com. All right, let's start with some other stuff. And if anything new breaks on some of these other investigations, we'll let you know. I guess one of the more recent stories in the last hour and a half or so is Dan Bongino stepping down from his gig at the FBI. How long has he been in there? It's not been a year because it took him a minute to get confirmed. Trump just took office in January. So maybe 9 months in the role. I think he's going back to his radio gig. I don't see that definitively, but I thought I saw a statement like that. Be honest with you, I never listened to his radio show. I've seen clips, but as everything, every now and then you got shows that something gets bombastic or becomes headline oriented and the clips get passed around on the internet. I don't even know where it airs or what time, but he was pretty successful at it. He converted some of his background and experience to the show. Of course, got plucked into government service. He says he wants to spend more time with his wife. That's a noble enough cause. We don't know. There is a little bit of controversy behind the scenes in terms of Trump is dissatisfied with the speed with which some of these FBI cases are being developed. And the FBI, I'm telling you, they got their hands full with a lot of stuff, revisiting a lot of the crookedness that happened in the previous administration. Then there's ongoing crime and potential terrorism and a lot to do. I did trust him to tell us the truth on some things, and he got sideways a few times with Pam Bondi, and y'all remember some of that stuff, particularly Epstein. But that made some headlines today. He is going back to his radio show, and we'll see whatever else happens after that. Then there's Trump's speech tonight in less than 3 hours. Incredible speculation as to exactly what Trump is going to say. The White House, for its part, sent their spokesperson out to sort of preview the speech for people, and they seem to be focused on Trump's track record. He's doing as good a job as I guess they can to go back to doing rallies and public events, focused on the economy, and now we call it affordability and all those issues. As the poll numbers do indicate, people are still kind of miserable with all the prices. Trump's got the answer if people, but he doesn't have time. Some of the programs that he's pursued, which are kicking in, fundamentally, when you read the numbers look good. But it takes a while for those numbers to get into people's pocketbooks and into their lives. A lowering of interest rates, the tax cuts that are coming next year, people's are going to see tax dividend rebates and cuts on some of their income. So your take-home pay looks bigger beginning January 1. See, all that can't kick in yet. They had to fight tooth and nail to get through the budget year, and we did with the sort of big, beautiful bill, which had a lot of stuff in it I would object to, but was a lot better than what we were dealing with. And that stuff hasn't even kicked in yet. It doesn't kick in until January 1. So Trump's going to go on the air tonight, talk a lot about those issues. But wild speculation, some of it coming directly from Tucker Carlson, for one, saying that he's talked to members of Congress that are telling him they've been briefed in confidential settings that we're going to take action against Venezuela. Now, Carlson says we're going to go to war, but it could just be a kinetic action like we did in Iran, where we take out some capability of the Venezuelans and squeeze Maduro to get out. So there's that. Now, let's switch to something completely different. We have the House of Representatives taking a vote right now on Obamacare. By now, many of you know the scenario. Obamacare was doomed to fail. It's poorly designed, and it's been running on subsidies and additional money, especially, well, it started in 2019, and then they used the cover of the COVID outbreak to continue shoveling money in there to keep the whole thing from falling apart and exploding on the people that are forced onto it. Well, now that time has come to an end because of that same budget bill we just talked about. Those subsidies were not put in there. So we've got dueling bills coming out of the House this afternoon. One is a plan by the Democrats to give a 3-year extension to the federal money that's bailing out Obamacare, billions of dollars to save the people that are on it. And when you look at the whole country, there are not that many people on it. By the way, now that you're kicking out some of these illegals that were on it, that's going to help with cost savings as well. But again, another one of those things that takes time to come to fruition so it has some effectiveness. So the Democrats want a plan where they just clean vote, extend the subsidies, and send that over to the Senate. Are y'all with me? This is what they shut the government down over and failed to get from the Republicans. Remember, that was in the Senate. So the Democrats have put the plan up. They needed Republican support, and apparently 4 Republicans crossed over and signed with the Democrats to put that on the floor. And I don't think that has passed yet, but we have an item on the floor right now, and I believe it's the Republican plan. Let's talk about it. The Republicans, and Gary Palmer alluded to this when he was on with us a few weeks ago, they've been working on a plan that's more market-based, that allows people to form their own collective pools to be able to purchase health care more cheaply. It lets competition and market forces work to try to bring the policies down so that the healthcare industry or the insurance industry has to be competitive. What Obama did was subsidize through the insurance companies a bunch of people that couldn't afford insurance, and it screwed up the whole model, and now everybody's paying higher rates. It wrecked the system. It's like putting a stick in some bicycle spokes of a system that was at least moving forward but was very expensive. Republicans want to offer this as a plan so that and look, the markets have to work that out. Here's what the Republicans are worried about. Their plan would be a new plan. The new rules would have to get reinstituted. It wouldn't be a repeal of Obamacare, and here's a dirty secret. It's not just the funding of Obamacare that's the problem, because they've run out of money, as they always do with these schemes. It's the rule book that Obamacare created that wrecked the whole system. The regulatory policies on the hospitals, the doctors, the reporting requirements, how patients are handled. Apparently, that's not getting repealed by this Republican plan, or maybe it is, and I'm just not onto that yet. But they do have a funding mechanism that it's supposed to be aimed at making all that more affordable. And I know all this sounds confusing because it is, and it is confusing to me as well. Unless they flat out repeal Obamacare and get rid of those rules, we've still got problems, even if they find a way to patch together a system that allows Obamacare recipients to get over to something else in the interim so they don't get hit with $30,000 a year in healthcare premiums and cost and whatnot. The whole system has become a mess since I think it finally kicked in 2013 after they passed it. And what a mess it's been. 6 years later, it was getting bailed out by the federal government. 6 years later, that's all it lasted. And then they hit it, and the Democrats had total control. And by the way, this has been their plan all along. It's never had a single Republican vote the whole time it's in its existence, all the way back to Barry being in office. And so now they're begging the Republicans, and there's some weak-willed Republicans that just as soon hand them the money and get this off their plate so they don't have to go home and try to explain it. But you've got some people that are facing some serious problems because of the failure of the system. And Republicans don't have the balls to let that failure fall back on the Democrats where it belongs and let the system fall apart and then fix it. So something will come out of there tonight, and it's probably going to head over to the Senate because it's already December 17th, and I don't know when they gavel out for the holidays. There's just a few calendar days left in the year, and we're going to be kind of watching that here in the next few minutes as well. That vote could was looking at my screens. Everybody's going to a commercial. I don't see the vote tally on my screen right now. But I tell you what we'll do. We'll take a break. I'll look for that. We'll see if we can get that to you as well tonight with all kind of news evolving all over the place. 545-9950. If y'all want to get in, now's a good time. Squeeze your calls in. We got a few minutes, got 45 minutes before the end of the show. Then we'll all be sitting around seeing whatever it is Trump's going to announce tonight. By the way, I think I've repeated it this hour, but let me plug it again. Just because AJ's putting in the overtime, he will stay here so that we can flip the station over to that speech at 8 o'clock so we can listen to it. I happen to be one of those people that will be out and about at that time, so I'm glad we're able to do that and bring you coverage of the Trump speech and or announcement this evening at 8 o'clock. Douglas Cooling and Heating bringing you the show tonight. CallDouglas.com. CALL, CallDouglas.com. This is my heating and air company. How did your heating system do in that cold snap Saturday night, or was that Sunday night? Sunday night. Man, some of y'all were still chilly in your house and your heat wasn't keeping up. Maybe it just needs to be cleaned and tuned up. You'd be surprised what a good bath and tune-up can do to your system. Even when you think it's failing, maybe it's not that expensive. Maybe that's all you need. If it is, and you need a replacement, this is your company. They put in some of the best brands in the business, particularly the Bryant systems. They've done that for me years and years ago on a different home, and those were just excellent. Quiet, efficient. My bills went down. You can trust Douglas to take care of it for you. So whether it's a second opinion, emergency work, installs, cleanups, tune-ups, all that, trust Douglas. Make them your heating and air company, too. They've been taking care of me for 16 years on every home I've owned in the interim. CallDouglas.com, CALL, Douglas.com. License number 2017181. All right, y'all. Michelson Laser Vision ready to help you see better. Man, I wouldn't take anything for the LASIK procedure I did years ago. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I sort of stumbled into it. I really just was investigating how Michelson was set up. They wanted to come on the show. I have to get to know these things. But the more I learned, the more I realized, man, I really ought to do this, or at least get them to check me. And they check me. I haven't looked back. That's a pun. I haven't looked back. I would advise you highly, if you're in glasses or contacts, at least check it out. Find out if you're eligible. In some cases, you won't be. Then you've solved your problem, or at least you have answered those questions. But if you are eligible, let them educate you on how it works. I think you'll grow in confidence like I did. And I just know being 2015, never having to think about glasses or contacts is amazing. I do use readers. I chose that option. And I do use sunglasses. That's it. At my age, I'll take it. It's beautiful. LASIK with Dr. Mark Michelson and Dr. Jennifer Michelson, downtown UAB Highlands. MichelsonLaserVision.com. All right, here's David on a cell phone. David, what you got, man?
Hey, just riding through Birmingham. Told AJ something because he was wondering what I was going to say. Kudos to you. I enjoy listening to you. The listening audience in the Birmingham and surrounding area is really blessed. I like how you really enlighten us with what's going on the political plateau. I sincerely mean that. You'd mentioned Fani Willis. I remember when the spotlight was on her inside the courtroom. The corruption was so heavy. Not just so much with Fani, but yeah. But what was going on in that courtroom? You could just feel it. My analogy is this. I'll never forget, Leland, I would have been 7, 8 years old. I kind of remember I was in the second grade, so let's say about 7.5, 8. We went to what's called Mammoth Cave up there in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'll make this real quick so you can get on with your show.
You got time. Go ahead.
We were halfway in. This tour lasted about 45 minutes, give or take 5. We were halfway in. The guy said, now, I want you all to get really comfortable somewhere where you can stand there because I'm going to turn the lights off. Before I turn them off, the darkness, you won't be able to see a thing. But what I'm going to point at is up about 200 feet. It's about the size of a golf ball. There's a hole, and you can see the daylight. And I'm going to show you about where it is, and then you can say, oh, yeah, I see it. So we were there. He flipped it off. Here's what I'll never forget. The darkness was so great you could feel it, just like you can feel the light. It's only a 95-degree day, but in the spring, when we transition into the warm days, everybody would kind of whisper, oh, yeah, I see it. I see it. And then it got quiet. Mommy, I don't see it. Everybody asked. And she said, I'm right beside him. I'm going to put my arm up so he can kind of follow it. And then, oh, I see it. Then he said, oh, right. So they were laughing. So he put the lights back on. And he looked over my way and said, oh, so you were the lad who saw him. I said, yeah. That's what you're doing. I love what you said to Darwin when he called in. He's 100% right about, the situation of the colleges, universities, and Muslim ideologies and all that. And then you heard him out. He said what he had to say. And then you said, quote, yeah, this has been going on for about 2,000 years, end quote. I love how you give us that little ray of light. It means so much.
Well, man,
that's my comment. I'm going to keep listening to you. Thank you. I'm going to hang up.
All right, David.
And listen to what you have to say.
I hope my mom and my wife all heard that. David was talking about what a wonderful guy I am. Sometimes I need those kind of props.
Sometimes you just need a reminder.
Yeah. No, David, that was very kind of you. It's just that, I don't know. I've tried to take a longer view of some of this stuff, and I get worked up too, y'all. I have to sit and read the news all day. As a defensive mechanism, instead of it driving me crazy like it's driving people crazy. And I think that social media is adding to the mania in our country right now of people that just are the way the algorithms work on social media. They reinforce what you're already reading. In other words, you read an article, Candace Owens is crazy. You're going to get 19 more crazy Candace Owens stories because it wants to keep you on that screen, right? And it's designed that way. Our medium, we just got to keep you laughing, keep you entertained, keep talking. But it's not psychologically addictive like that. I hope. I like it that y'all listen, and we have an unusual what's called time spent listening number of people that turn it on and leave it on. Most of radio, people come and go. You're in and out of your car, and we get that. So I guess I say all that to say, so that I don't drive you mad, I try not to drive myself mad. And to do that, I have to look at a longer view of history. The more you can look backward into history, the more you can see things always repeat. We've been in weird spots like this before. We've never been in a world where we're threatened by AI and technology and we're watching our kids' brains rot like we are. And the world used to not move this fast. But as far as the dynamics that are in place, I guess it was Charlie Kirk's assassination was eye-opening for a lot of Christians because you saw a guy who professed Christianity, and I wasn't a big follower of Charlie Kirk, but I learned about him in the assassination. And the guy was boldly out there professing his faith, and he's slaughtered. And then the reaction is slaughter is as evil as you would imagine, and it ain't the first time. Because in my little daily Bible reading, and I try to stay on track, for me personally, one of the things that centers me now is to try to do that before I pollute my brain with anything else during the day, is to get that done. And some days I'm really, really into it, and some days I'm still learning. But the one thing it reminds me is those stories that are timeless are the same stories we're looking at now. There was martyrdom and attacks and assaults and beheadings of characters from the earliest days of Christianity. John the Baptist, Peter. This year I got to see the prison cell where Peter and Paul were held in Rome before they were executed. That was powerful. I missed that in my previous visits to Rome. And all it does is remind us that from Kirk's murder to this assassination of this young lady, Ella Cook, in that school building, if she was targeted for her beliefs, which a lot of people are presuming right now, and we have no choice but to, with the lack of information and what we do know about the case, she too, you could say, if she was outspoken and was targeted for that, would died for her faith. We got an old lady that's been harassed in a Target. She was a Target worker wearing a Charlie Kirk shirt. And some young Karen bitch, excuse my language, just harassed her for wearing that, doing her own thing, minding her own business. That's her belief system. These people have gone mad, and they're targeting and looking for to villainize Christians anywhere they can, from a verbal assault in a Target to murder. But is it new? It's unnerving, but is it new? It's not. Even the violence coming from Islam is not new. They've been doing this since 700 AD, since the day they got going, slaughtering their enemies, taking their jihad global, attacking people with the blade. Why? Because in the Quran. Read it. Thomas Jefferson read it. It's why we created a United States Navy to go save our own people in their region of the world in the 1700s, because they were killing our people and advancing themselves. Go to Spain and read that history of their advancement into Spain. None of this is new. It's just different technology, different abilities to spread and fight the violence and resist the threats. So in a longer worldview, yeah, I mean, that's why I said that. Just in some ways that can keep you calm, because humans go on, life goes on, civilizations crumble and collapse, nations fall into the sea, but humans keep going. Back in a minute.